by Aaron's Repair and Supply, Nicholson, Rickey, and Bryant Funeral Home, by Abby's Carpet and Floor, and by the Barton Community College Foundation.
Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay,
Carter
Sports
Cope
Day.
between the legs. He shovels a pass. Premer a three. Yes. How about that one? A 7-0 run by the Panthers, making an 8-0 run, and Great Bend leading 8-2.
Total team effort, and this is what I see on a daily basis, and this is the effort these guys give every day. But, you know, honestly, I think it kind of starts with Braylon. You know, he was matched up with Weimer.
Give OU credit. They did everything they're supposed to do to win a game on the road. They controlled tempo. They played smart. They rebounded the ball. I mean, they did a lot of good things.
We've been battle tested so much this year, especially you know, with close games in the conference that, you know, we always find a way to stay composed no matter what's going on.
You got to give a lot of credit to them. You know, they defended well. They played hard. They got a lot of second chance points.
There's always the factor of being the team with the number in front of your name that until you experience it, you don't understand it. There's a certain pressure that goes along with having that number, like, man, we don't rank and then lose, right? And or guys get a little tight. Then we have a big crowd like this for the first time. And
if you swing and miss, if you go to Denver and you're convinced that you can turn it around with Russ, and you can't get rid of him this year because his dead cap number is $107 million. That is a big miss.
I think it was an outlier. We had two great semifinal games. We had a horrible doesn't describe what we saw. The point being that the 12-team playoff, I think, is going to be the most exciting thing we've seen in college football.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Coming to you from the Mayo Money Management Studios. It is the Wednesday Sports Day show. Steve Webster with you. Mike Corson in, along with Mike Hesher, to bring you, hopefully, the latest sports news or stuff that happened yesterday. I mean, we'll really dig into it. Thanks for joining us on the program. Today, Cindy Beck, head coach of the Great Bend Lady Panthers, will be in. Also joining her will be junior Paige Thaxton, Ellenwood Eagle Boys coach Derek Joyner, along with seniors Parker Scheck and Alec Brock. Yeah, we're getting close to that game. A couple days away, Maxville and Ellenwood. And the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, Jared Welbrock, hopefully will be standing by for the phone call today. And we'll go over all the headlines that we have and, of course, sounds of the past 24 hours or so. Don't look so serious, Hesh. This is fun.
It is fun. I'm having a ball. Well, I have to stay focused because, you know, I can control things now. And as I told you earlier, you start cutting my mic off, we're going to get a tight shot of the back of your head.
They go like this. If you just go sideways, he has to start working.
It'll look like it'll be like Bill Nye the Science Guy show. They're getting a close-up of the moon.
That's right.
It'll be good. Pull your mic over there a little bit.
Okay. Well, I got too much.
Okay, that's very good.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Fun and mayhem to start the program. So we've got a good lineup again for you. It's going to be great tomorrow, too. So we're going to just keep it up here. Sounds the past 24 hours or so. The call last night on B1043 The Point, freshman Ian Premer nailing a three in the first quarter. That gave Great Bend an 8-2 lead on Hays. That was the start of a huge game for Premer. He had 13 points in the first quarter. Panthers go on to destroy Hays High 64-47 in a game that wasn't even that close. Premer, a career-high 25 points. That included a violent slam dunk at the end of the first half to put the Panthers up by 15 at the break. Panthers would lead by as many as 27 in the second half. They improved to 4-4 on the season.
Wait, how violent was the dunk? I missed it.
Could you let Mike Corson tell his story about missing the dunk?
You missed the dunk?
Hey, so when I go to Great Bend High School, I like to promote the home team, especially when it's Great Bend. Premer's got 13 points first quarter, 5 of 5 shooting, three three-pointers, all from the corner that I can't get because of the angle with my camera. So I got zero.
Well, one was from the wing. I mean, what's it?
They're hard to follow.
Okay, all right.
Got 0 of his 13 points, so I really want a Premer highlight. And if we got the steal at the end of the half, going to the basket, I think I got to the point where he's about to go up, and then one of the kids jumped off the end of the bench in front of my camera. So sorry, Ian, you didn't make the cut.
Do you have that picture on? I mean, behind this player, could you identify the player and just say, behind this player is Ian Premer going up for a dunk?
I'd like to name him so Ian knows who to be mad at.
So you didn't get to see it?
Yeah, I missed it on video and in person. And
even though you were right there.
Yep.
What a performance last night, huh?
And then I didn't know. I mean, I heard you mention the Weimer kid before the game, but Ian was also stuck on him defensively, held him to 2 points. How big was that?
Well, that was Braylon Council was on him most of the first half. Then Braylon picked up a couple fouls. Then it's kind of like team effort on that. But Braylon Council, Kyle Cree was kind of talking about that. Was the effort last night that held him to 2 points. 2 points.
The other one was Caden Sharman came off the bench, 8-0 run on his own. But then he misses a three-pointer, and I think the Hall kid cleaned it up.
How did Vanderweg not block that? I mean, Caden took that shot, and Vanderweg can jump out of the gym. I thought, and it just barely went over the top of his fingers, and about tore the net off.
He's had all those ball handlers. It's shocking they can't do more.
I think they came out a little overcome. I don't know. They were making some silly passes behind the back, and then they were going in the stands, and they turned it over 19 times. Yeah. Good night. Panthers end a 6-game losing streak against Hayes High in a big way, and I didn't even think about it at the time, but it was 27 points going to the fourth quarter. I was so engaged in the game, I wasn't thinking, well, gosh, we get 3 more points. It's going to be running clock going down the stretch here.
No way I'm a clock watcher. I was like, get those 3 points.
I just wanted to stay and embellish the whole thing last night. Panthers at Hutchinson on Friday. Lady Panthers fall in their game. Hayes jumping to an early lead. They go on to get the win 63-45. They're 5-3 on the season. Lady Panthers, paced by Emily Hall, who had a season-high 17. They fall to 4-4 on the season. Both teams playing at unbeaten Hutchinson on Friday. You can see all the other high school scores. Hess, you had the... tell me about the finish of this Hoisington girls game last night, because it was a final margin of 5 points, 37-32.
Correct. It was a game where, it was Haven would get out to a 10-point lead. Hoisington would come back, cut it to 4. Hoisington finally got it down to 1 point with about 7 seconds to go, and the sophomore Ellie Crawford had a great look on the right side of the bucket, and the ball just wouldn't go down for her. And then, so Haven rebounded. Hoisington commits a foul. They called it a flagrant foul or deliberate foul, intentional foul. So they got the 2 points, the free throws, and then they got the ball, and Hoisington had a foul again. So it ended up being a 5-point game, but Hoisington had a real good chance of winning that game. It was kind of, the ball was like halfway down and popped out.
Oh, man.
It was a tough break. And, Ellie's only a sophomore, so I hope she doesn't get too hung up on that one. But
well, that would have been the second year they beat that Haven team, so that'd have been a good win.
Yep.
But coming up short there. That first game against Smoky Valley was not a league game, so the conference game coming up later. But Haven stays unbeaten on the season.
Boys look good.
You just kept saying, boy, that 1-3, yeah, that Lonnie Paramore knows how to play that, doesn't he?
As I said, I think they come out of the womb of playing that 1-3-1 in Haven, because they played as good as anybody. And they got length, and they got athletes.
They play full court, they play half court, they can trap out of it. They do a lot of different things out of that. It's kind of like the Hoisington players, yeah.
Well, it's impressive.
Not doing that, but running the flex bones since they're 3 years old.
Well, and it's impressive that Roper and Paramore, the two coaches for Haven, have been there as long as they have.
I think Dwight's been there 28 years.
I think that's what he told me last night, yes.
A while.
And I forgot to tell you, the gal in Beloit told you hi as well.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. And I just remembered. Sorry about that.
That's like the gal from...
the coach in Beloit that you called for.
Shauna Porter.
Shauna Porter. She said hi back.
Why, thank you.
Yeah. Probably not the best time to bring that up, but what else am I going to do?
Well, you forgot to tell me, so okay. Well, that's good. Shauna Porter, the Hall of Famer.
I did not realize she was a Hall of Famer. And her assistant coach was a year younger than her and played at Fort Hayes as well.
Who was that? I can't remember Shauna Porter. I'm asking you to extend yourself a little bit here. Okay.
Yes, you are.
All right. Other high school games last night on the boys' side. Larned has won 2 in a row. They beat Lyons 61-52. Ellenwood over St. John 73-19. Derek Joyner and Parker Scheck and Alec Brock will be in here on the program today. Maxville stays unbeaten, so they set the stage up for that unbeaten matchup tomorrow, or Friday night in Maxville. They beat Ingalls 66-45. Kinsley over Otis Bison 46-33. St. John 45. Ellenwood 30. Girls scores again. Haven 37. Hoiston 32. Larned has won 2 in a row. They beat Lyons 42-32. Central Plains 54. Sterling 39. St. John 45. Ellenwood 30. Maxville girls beat Ingalls 53-35. And Otis Bison over Kinsley 51-40. 44. Okay, Bill Self after KU last night. They went 12 minutes without scoring, still found a way to win the game as they knock off Oklahoma. It was their 21st straight victory over Oklahoma at Allen Fieldhouse. And the KU came back, big deficit, and they win it. So they are now 14-1 on the season, 4-0 in the Big 12. They stay tied with Iowa State and Kansas State. Jalen Wilson, 17 points for KU, who won yet another close game to start the Big 12 season, saying, yeah, no big deal, we're behind. You can't have a 10-point play, so you just got to keep getting your best shot you can. They come roaring back on an 18-4 run to get that victory. And Iowa State also winning last night, beating Texas Tech. Blew them out last night. That was in Ames, 80-54. And Kansas State, down by 2 at halftime. They come back, knock off OSU at Bramlage, 65-57. Cats are 4-0. They're 15-1. And Marquise Noel with 20 points talking about, yeah, they got a pretty good challenge from Oklahoma State in that game. And Jerome Tang, you just, when you play different sometimes when you get that number in front of your name. K-State up to number 11, their first game playing as a ranked team. Down by 2. Oklahoma State's really good. I think everybody in the Big 12 is. Kansas State gets it. So you have 3 teams tied for first now at 4-0. Iowa State at KU on Saturday, and then KU and K-State in Manhattan on Tuesday. And you're not working next Tuesday, right?
I'm hoping they both win out.
The state is waiting for your stories on Catch It Kansas, and are you covering the KU K-State game from your living room, or what's the deal?
I might talk to the TV.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, Barton in action tonight, and tomorrow we're going to have Brad Witherspoon on Sports Day. Brad, the former assistant coach at Barton, did not get that job, went to northern Oklahoma, Tonkawa, and he's at Dodge. They're in town Saturday, and his team is ranked 8th in the country right now. Joe Fortenbaugh going to Denver would be a huge risk for Sean Payton. I hadn't really thought about it, but if you're thinking you're a coach wanting to come in there and turn it around, if you can't turn around Russell Wilson, what are you going to do? You go in there and you can't get rid of him. He's going to be around until 2025, so make sure you're confident that you can do the job when you come in there.
I think if you look at Denver, the last 2 games versus the first 14, way different team with a new coach already. So if you get a guy who actually knows what he's doing.
You got Bronco blood in you, don't you? You're just waiting for the new Messiah to come down Main Street. Oh, we're back now. We'll see. Sean Payton in the running for that job. And Paul Feinbaum, 12-team playoff, still going to be the most exciting thing that's ever happened to college football.
The logic, we got to sound smart. The superintendent's kid is in here.
You're the same guy that says you're the same guy that said that squirrels lay eggs yesterday, right here on this program. You and Kyrie Irving are right there in the same universe of what you guys talk about. So go ahead, yes.
So logic, if TCU loses the first game, fine, the logic stands up. But they beat a team in the playoffs to make it to the
TCU
finals.
shouldn't have been in there. Michigan shouldn't have been in there.
Then that's a slippery slope. So
why play games? Why don't you just have this committee go into this big room and pick out these teams? Well, they look like the best team. They look like the best team.
But there's no saying with 12 teams you're going to have a competitive championship game.
Yeah, but you'll get good matchups.
But on paper, all those games were good matchups. Georgia might have just been that good. And the difference in
they were that
style
night.
of play. Right.
But we had some good bowl game matchups. Alabama, K-State wouldn't have been neat if it had been in a 12-team playoff. I mean, the result would have been the same probably, but, well, it would have been.
I only like it because it lets some of the smaller schools in to have the opportunity, but I think they're going to get blown out of the water.
Well, that's why isn't it like the first round of the high school football playoffs, an 8-man one, where I've always said you might as well play 2 games that night because when you seed them, it's 1 against 32 or 1 against 16.
And they make them drive across the state.
Yeah, play 2 games that night because the first game's only going to last till halftime. But they were able to get in the playoffs.
It's different. Those are mandatory games.
Oh, okay, all right.
Nobody's picking them.
Okay. Mike Corson's going to take my chair here in just a moment, get a good tight shot when Corson gets in here so we can see him operate the control panel as he'll be talking with Cindy Beck and Paige Thexton here on Sports Day. It is the Wednesday show here on KVGB. The need for nurses is constant. Barton Community College offers practical and registered nursing programs. The affordable and challenging coursework is taught by experienced instructors who care about you and have a passion for teaching in the field of nursing. Get hands-on training in the classroom, state-of-the-art simulation labs, and at clinical sites for this high-demand field. The priority application deadline is January 31st. Apply online at nursing.bartonccc.edu.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction. They have quite a few jobs scheduled for the new year, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Don't kid yourself. Winter's a long way from being over. Every time your old furnace kicks on, just think of it as a slot machine that never pays off. Start saving money by placing a call to Mater Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your original Bryant man in central Kansas. With a Bryant high-efficiency furnace, you may spend a little money, but you'll save a lot of money, too. Call your Bryant man, Alan Mater. Mater Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Great Bend.
Each year, more than 3.5 million older adults are victims of financial exploitation in the U.S. Many are afraid to report it, but taking action prevents additional victims. Here's what you can do. Stop. Don't interact with the scammers. Verify the source with a trusted person and report it right away if you think you've been scammed. Call 1-800-922-5330 to report. Sponsored by the state of Kansas and aired in cooperation with the Kansas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson joined today by Great Bend varsity basketball coach Cindy Beck and junior Paige Thexton. How nice of you to join us. We'll try your microphones on for once.
not the mess up we had last time, huh?
Hard learner. We're going to go back to Friday real quick. 2023 opener.
Yeah.
WAC's going to be tough this year. We kind of wanted maybe that was a winnable game, but not the way it turned out.
You know, that's one of those things we've been looking at. You know, I think all of the WAC, we're going to have a lot of competitive games throughout the season. You know, everyone so far, I think Liberal's gotten 2 already, beat Hayes on Friday. And we knew Garden was coming in with some athletic girls. You know, they didn't graduate a whole lot from their team last year. So we knew the different weapons that they have. I think right now we're kind of looking at it as when we started the year last year, the same type of situation happened. And we were able to kind of keep growing and keep improving. And we got them both the second time. So right now we're just going to keep looking forward and keep looking to get better.
And Paige, before basketball, I know you guys have, your family has got the therapy dog for USD 428, Willa.
Yeah, my mom had talked about it for like a year, and she finally like went and got it, and it's nice having her. It's so nice having her around. She's just like, she loves the attention that all the kids give her, and I think it just brightens everybody's day to see her.
Had you had a pet before that?
Yeah, we had another dog. She was kind of like, she didn't know how to feel about it at first, but they get along pretty well, so it's nice having them both at the house.
And what's maybe the difference between your dog and the school's dog?
Well, my dog, she's older now, so she's kind of like keeps to herself, but Willa will go up to anyone. She just loves the attention and loves everything.
Basketball-wise, we don't always see you in the scorebook as a scorer a whole bunch, but I do see you down in the paint kind of pushing people around, grabbing rebounds. What is your role on the team this year?
I think get people open, get as many rebounds as I can, and put them back up.
Do you ever look to score? I mean, if it's there, or...
Oh, yeah, if it's there, I got to take it.
Yeah, Paige has actually hit a couple big shots for us this season. You know, she's one that doesn't expect that first pass and shoot the shot, but if we work through the offense and she's got an open look, you know, she's got a shot that she knocks down very consistently. So she's definitely one who's able to score, but like she said, she does a nice job of being that role player and understanding what it is we're trying to do, both offensively and defensively.
And we'll talk about last night, Hayes. 6-point game. Emily Hall scores a basket with like 4:02 left in the second quarter. It's a 6-point game. then a 13-0 run kind of sealed your fate. What happened after Emily's basket?
You know, I think we got a little mixed up on a few things, and we just gave them way too many 2-foot shots. You know, they're a big team already, and we kind of had gone in with the game plan of making them shoot the bucket, you know, get them out 3 foot, 4 foot, and it just didn't work out in our favor. I think, like I was talking to Paige on the way here, a lot of those things are correctable errors on our part. So hopefully it's something that we can look back at and watch and kind of see where it was we stepped up the lane too quick, or you know, we got to close out and be a little bit lower on the drive, knowing that they're going to go all the way to the hole. So we got to get better on our defense. You know, we've got to be able to lock down and kind of get that head game, that mental game of knowing we can do it.
Talking with Lady basketball coach Cindy Beck and junior Paige Thexton. The sophomores for Hayes, I was really surprised. 2 of them scored 16 points. One of them was just hammering you early on, high percentage shots. Were you surprised by that, or was that the scouting report?
Molly Martin's she's been pretty effective.
In the beginning, we knew we had to shut down 2 girls, and then this third sophomore came out, and she kind of hit us hard in the beginning, and it took a little bit to adjust, so I think that hurt us a little bit.
And those were 2 smaller girls, very athletic, quick. Later in the game, they brought in a much bigger, what we'd consider a normal post. So as someone is kind of bouncing around down in the post, is it weird to kind of guard that range of players?
Yeah, sometimes, especially for me, because I'm not the tallest and I'm not the biggest. Like, I have to get lower, kind of push them around harder, and just try my best to not let them shoot over me.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for her, but I know she's one that can get in the right position, and you know, Paige is a very strong player physically, so she'll do the best job she can to at least get him off the post and make the shot as tough as possible.
And then maybe coming up in the second half, I think it was Emily had a 3-point play, and I thought maybe here comes Great Bend. Hayes goes in, and I think it was Martin that answered with a 3-point play. Other than that, just especially on your home court, it's a Hayes. How did you keep the girls in it going into that second half to be competitive?
Oh, you know, our girls are not kids that are ever going to back down. It doesn't take a whole lot to really keep them motivated to play. They don't quit. You know, I think we were in a timeout with about a minute left, and they're still talking about, hey, we got to get the ball here, we got to look here, type of a situation. You know, I think our biggest struggle defensively is we got down and kind of dug that hole, and we didn't have a lot of options of trying to go and try some different looks of zone or anything we wanted to throw at them, because they were going to kind of just stall it out. So that's something we have to be better at. You know, we can't dig the hole early. We got to be able to keep ourselves close so we can use some of those options and be able to adjust a little bit easier rather than having to stick with the man, even though we were struggling to guard him man-to-man. You know, they are a quick team, especially those 2 guards. Right off the dribble, they go hard and they go to the basket. And we just weren't able to get a hand or step in front. And so that's something we'll have to continue to talk about and focus on, and not just reach as they go by, but actually step over and cut them off.
And Paige, we've talked about this with other kids before, but 4-4 records, not stellar, but it's progress from maybe years past. And you've got young players, and you've had the tough schedule with Emporia coming in. Hayes was ranked once upon a time, now going to unbeaten Hutch. What's the attitude? Even if you're only 4-4, still feel like you guys could do anything any given night?
Yeah, I feel like the past few games we've kind of struggled, but I think, like, going into Hutch, we know they're good, but we know that we're good too, and we know that we're capable of doing good things. So we just need to make sure we come out with the mentality that we can, like, we know what to do, and we're going to beat this team, I think is what's going to do the best on Friday.
All right, Lady Panthers fall to Hayes 63-45 Tuesday at home. Head to Hutchinson this weekend. Good luck.
Thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
Let technology bring you closer this holiday season to loved ones near and far. With unlimited data as low as $25 a month, you can get the phone you want with the features you need from the best people. Next Tech Wireless, keeping Kansans connected.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
and pets are permitted. Learn more or apply at gbhaks.com. Great Bend Housing Authority, equal housing opportunity.
The ants go marching one by one, we'll pass, we'll pass. The ants go marching one by one, we'll pass, we'll pass. They'll find a way into your home, eat your food and make it their own. The ants go marching into your home.
When the enemy marches on your gates, you need to take control. World Pest Control in Sylvan Grove, Otis, and Salina.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Yeah, we've been talking about this game since last Friday. It's going to happen now. The coaches can officially talk about it since they played their game last night. But we in the media, Derek Joyner, we can look ahead 2 weeks and say, oh, yeah, that Ellenwood-Maxville game's coming up. Well, it's here, isn't it? It's a couple days away. So we can talk about it now with you. What do you think about Friday night? This is going to be a fun one.
Well, I think it's going to be a good game. Our guys yesterday, you speak of that, our guys apparently Sports Day listeners because right before the JV boys game started, they go, Coach, you hear those Sports Day guys don't think we're going to win at Maxville?
Who said that?
I don't know. They're saying Jim. They're saying Jim.
Well, that's Mizzou. He's just a part-time guest, I mean, he's a Sports Day contributor. I'm not going to throw it up. I got Maxville guys coming into the studio tomorrow, so I've got to play both sides here.
I haven't watched it yet, but I've got to clip it out and just put it on loop over the speakers at practice today. Was the plan? But
wow, I love that, man. We've gone so far now that we've got bulletin board stuff.
You guys are like ESPN First Take, where the athletes are using it for motivation.
Really?
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith.
Gosh, should I make people that mad? Man, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess.
But seriously, it's going to be a good game. I mean, they've always had this really good senior group, and we've had a really good senior group. So we've had good games over the years, and it's been a lot of fun competing with them over the years. And in fact, there was times in the middle school time where, after middle school in March and April, you could split up and you could only take 3 from each team, and we'd grab 3 from them, 3 from ours, and I would actually coach when I was a high school coach, so I could coach the middle school, and we'd go play some MAYB together. And so you got relationships with the kids, and Jeff's been a great coach, and always he's somebody that really accepted me when I joined the league, and so just fun competing with those guys, and I have a lot of respect for them.
What can you expect? I mean, it could be next year, it could be 2 years from now, it's 3 years ago. What do you expect when you take on a Jeff Kuckelman coach team, Derek?
Well, Jeff's teams are always going to play man-to-man. Of course, who knows what we see on Friday.
Now that you've said it, there's bulletin boards.
He's played man-to-man for years. With his personnel he has right now, they used to play 3-out, 2-in motion all the time. Now they've been a good 4-out team, kind of circling around Ryan Kuckelman, his boy, and a lot of good just perimeter players that can all play on the perimeter around him. But they're going to know our personnel really well. They're going to scout our guys really well every time we play. They'll do some full court pressure. They haven't done as much against teams like our teams. Just like us, we can't do the same kind of trapping and pressure against teams that have better ball handling and those kind of things.
They get after you defensively, especially with this group.
I would say when I watch them play, is I would say they've all got really good anticipation and really good hands. So, they read passes well. If you're loose with the ball, they're going to tip it and take it the other way. They're fortunately, we like playing them too because it's a fun game because some teams try to hold the ball forever against us and those kind of things, and Maxville likes to play a high possession game just like we do.
So last year you got on them, you got up on them early and kind of held them at bay the rest of the way, but a good start against Maxville last year when you're playing them at home.
We've been fortunate to do that the last 2 years we've played them. We've kind of jumped on it early and then just been able to kind of stay in there and that anywhere between 15 and 20 points against them the last couple of years. we know it's going to be difficult playing in Maxville. That's always a tougher place to play. There's some things that we don't always see, like the restraining line, the court's a little smaller, those kind of things you got to kind of relearn. Maybe I'll get some court tape out today and put a restraining line out there for our guys. It's one of those things. One thing I always like to do against the restraining is I always tell my guys to step forward, closer to the line. You know, don't stay behind the actual the what's our normal out of bounds line. Step in front of that out of bounds line just a little bit, so that tells you in your brain and tells all the other players, hey, look, that's not the out of bounds line because look where he's standing inbound the ball. Maybe that helps. I don't know.
You've got the only 94-footer in the league, right?
I think St. John's Court's 94.
I don't know.
It's a big court.
We'll go measure it next time. But as a coach, other than being, you get into town team basketball later on and you really notice how short the court is if you're playing on a shorter one instead of the full-length one, what's it mean for your guys?
Well, I mean, they probably rather practice on a shorter court.
Yeah. Especially at the end of practice, right?
It just shrinks the court a little bit. So, like, if you are playing against teams that can pressure, and we can pressure too, it shrinks the court up a little bit, makes it a little more difficult to operate in space, those kind of things. You don't have as much space to operate sometimes.
I'm glad you brought Parker Shack along with Alec today.
I hope they're getting the full hair effect here.
I just wanted to see what look he was going with this year. This is all right. Are you going with the goggles this year? What's the? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Because I've got to watch these two guys of course, the Hoisted Winter Jam. Alec, it's good to see you standing upright. Usually I see you, on your back after taking a charge. Okay, that's which you had 26 last year. Yeah, 5 charges taken so far this year. So, okay, Parker, it's Maxville. I mean, what are you excited about for this game?
Each year I love playing Maxville because each team's pretty close with each other. We know each other pretty well. I think it'll be a good game.
As far as your matchup defensively, are you on Kuckelman or?
Yeah, I think I could take him.
Okay. Okay, there you go. Okay, cut that one out. That is a bulletin board material. But talk about your team this year and maybe how it's a little bit different than last year. It seems like you have a lot more depth. But your thoughts on this year's version of the Ellenwood Eagles?
We're putting more pressure on the ball than we have the past few years. We rearranged our defense, and I think it's looking better than it has.
What are some of those rearrangements or some of those changes that you've made this year that you particularly like, that affect you a little bit?
We're more physical, and I don't know how to say it.
Give us some secrets. Alec, I'll ask you that. What's different with this year's team maybe than last year's, except you guys have a lot more experience because you got a lot of guys that have seen a lot of action.
Yeah. More experience, more chemistry that we have together, and we just play very good. And we all know our special talents that we have, so we just play with each other good.
What's your role on this team when you got to have a guy like Brett Dutton scoring 27 a game?
Just do it. Let's find him. If he's in trouble, then we'll all go score for him, or if we need to, we'll set him up for a good shot, get him ready.
What's the key to drawing charges? You seem to be very adept at that.
You just got to be in the right place at the right time and make sure you're squared up to take it. And yeah.
I got a funny story on the charges from last year, Steve.
His back was dirty against Pratt last year. I mean,
there were times where maybe we were trying to take a few too many charges during the year, and Alec came to me and told me that he was trying to break the state record of charges. And I asked him where he got this from. I was like, because as far as I know, we don't have, this on record. Only so many coaches are keeping charges. Well, his cousin, if you remember, Brock Blessing is his first cousin. You remember Brock Blessing?
Yes.
Played at Great Bend High School? This is his first cousin. And he's over here explaining to Alec that, 23 is the record. And, so Alec's like, I can get that. And so he's trying to take the charge.
Did he want the game to stop when he got number 24?
So we're getting a little too many fouls. We're getting a little too many fouls, because you're putting yourself in a 50-50 sometimes. So I had to. I know Brock's dad, Dave, who's another Great Bend legend, and called him and said, "Hey, give me Brock's number so I can talk to him about this fake record that we've got going on here. But then we read like an article at the end of the year. Some kid took like 40 charges. So I was like, well, you're not even close to that, so we'll be okay.
So, what are your thoughts on taking on Maxville on Friday, Alec? This is one, like you said, it's a league game, but it's not sub-state, not life or death. This is one that you just kind of go out and get excited.
Well, yeah, we just got to go out there and play our hearts out and just play the best we could and get it so we can get this league championship for the 4th time for these seniors.
When you think of Maxville, what do you think of?
Talented, just kind of like Ellenwood. They got a lot of seniors, a lot of chemistry that's good, and they just play good as a team.
You have to be more aware because it seems like every one of those guys will take a three-point shot. Doesn't matter where it's at. I mean, they play pretty free with the offense. So does that make a difference in your defensive mentality at all?
No, we just got to play what Coach Derek says to play on defense and close out and stay on our feet. Just no fouling on the three-point line.
Okay, Park, I've got a question for you. Did you have a trampoline in your backyard when you were little?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So did you not worry about when you jumped up and to the side and were not going to land back on the trampoline at all? I've seen you take some spills, man.
Yeah, that don't really scare me at all.
Okay, because he plays
we
up by the rim.
We have been working on staying down in certain situations and just walling up instead because he's got long arms too, and that sometimes just does the trick.
But he's kind of the guy that does.
Well, both these guys have kind of got a kamikaze effect to them. I mean, this is kind of the Eagle kamikaze team right here that we have.
And these are two guys that are a perfect complement for Dutton, right? I mean,
both
on
Britton
this
and Coy,
team.
I mean, yeah. Hey, I have just as many people talk to me about these two guys as I do as Britton, because of the way they play, well, last night, St. John coach I said about Alec, he goes, Alec probably comes in your practice every day and says, I'm the second best player in the gym. And I go, oh, no, he thinks he's the best player in the gym someday.
Well, you gotta play with that, especially on that team. Alec, like I said, I mean, you've got some guys that score, you've got some guys that rebound, but it seems like everybody kind of knows where they're at in this engine that is Ellenwood basketball. So everybody kind of accepts a role, and that seems like talk about that, how everybody kind of gets along and accepts their role and how that helps you guys.
Well, knowing our roles is a big part, so we all know what to do, and it also helps with us knowing what we're all good at and what to find on offense and what we can do best on defense.
I never did take chemistry, but I always hear that that's kind of what it is, Derek, right? Is when players mesh together.
Yeah, and our parts actually fit really well together. This year I think adding Cooper Hossman to the rotations helped a lot too, because he's kind of a blended guy. We lost Cody Zink and we had Cooper kind of is really the main way that I look at the top six type rotation here that we have. And Cooper shoots the ball a little better, but he does a lot of the things that Cody did as well. Rebound. He's a versatile defender, those kind of things. So it's been, Cooper's come a long way as we saw in football, and he's done the same thing in basketball.
Parker, what's going to be the key tomorrow or Friday night when you take on Maxville to keep that unbeaten record going?
Not to foul out. That's always my goal.
Okay, all right. Very, very good. The brackets come out for the Cardinal Winter Jam. I was kind of disappointed, actually.
Yeah, those came out this morning. I
want to see Ian Pratt on the other side, but,
Well, I mean, it was nice last year to get to play some of the bigger schools in all 3 rounds a year ago.
Okay.
And sometimes it plays out that way on the records because some of the smaller schools get a better record as the year goes on.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't play out that way. We are going to be playing league opponents at least to the 3rd round. So that's how it goes, and we'll just go out there and play the games. It's like we're talking about this Maxville game. We're gonna go out there and play as good as we can play. I think if we do that, we're gonna be okay. But even if we're ahead, as some people can see, like I'm not always satisfied when we're up by 30. I just want us to play well, And
Really?
Yeah.
You get upset when you...
Wait, look, we're up 37-2 at halftime. I had a few things to talk about on defense at halftime, didn't I, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem with St. John. Tell me about the Ellis game, because a lot of people are wondering about it. They shut them out in the first half. Tell everybody what went on in that game.
Well, they shot the ball only 2 times in the first 15 minutes. So they had a strategy to try to stall, limit the possessions of the game. They felt like we were the better team, obviously. So, after we let them run some clock there in the first quarter, and we started then extending, and they just never changed the strategy. I think it was 13-0 after the end of the first quarter, and they started the second quarter, and I could tell they were still trying to stall, and I was like, can't score if you don't shoot. And they never shot, so they didn't score the ball.
Parker Scheck, a senior. So you've got experience with Coach Joyner. What's your favorite halftime speech?
I don't know about
Alec, you got one?
Well, he always comes in, he has to come excite us up for the third half, and that's why we always come out and play good in that third half.
Does he use props sometimes, or like falling things, or these guys aren't going to...
These guys are, they're doing it. I mean, every once in a while, let's just say that sometimes I carry 2 markers in my pocket.
No, that's okay. I can see that. You're always thinking ahead. Guys, thanks for coming in. Parker, it's great to meet you. Same way, Alec. And again, good to see you standing up. This is good. Derek, good luck on Friday night. And we'll piece this together as Kuckelman's team's over there in Maxville doing the same thing to get that bulletin board audio.
That's right. We did pretty good until Parker.
Guys, thanks a lot. We're going to take a break. We'll talk Gerard Welbrock, voice of Fort Hays State Tigers, coming up next here on Sports Day.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
The need for nurses is constant. Barton Community College offers practical and registered nursing programs. The affordable and challenging coursework is taught by experienced instructors who care about you and have a passion for teaching in the field of nursing. Get hands-on training in the classroom, state-of-the-art simulation labs, and at clinical sites for this high-demand field. The priority application deadline is January 31st. Apply online at nursing.bartonccc.edu.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like ASTEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows ASTEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. And after a year in business, Dr. Luke Criley has joined the practice. He is a physical therapist that also offers dry needling. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab inside the Fieldhouse, 2817 9th Street, Great Bend.
How do you make the most of your land?
If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
if it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
It's time to head to Tiger Town to talk Fort Hays State Tiger sports with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock, on Sports Day.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. We go to Hays. Jared Wellbrock, voice of Fort Hays State Tigers. He's very, very talented. He can not only tell us about Fort Hays State sports, other things, NCAA, Division II, playoffs, region rankings. He can also give us the latest weather that could be headed our way. So you went into Tiger Club, Gur, and you came out and there's a difference. The front has arrived. Is that what you're telling me?
It's colder. It's colder out. That's my weather breakdown. It's a lot colder now than it was when I went in there an hour before.
Okay. So, all right.
There you go.
So it's coming. You would think it's coming down here. So
yeah, I'm thinking you'll get it eventually. Oh, maybe some snow. I don't like that. I mean, we need it, but I don't like it.
I know. We need snow, but we need no. I'll just take it in rain. So Jared Wellbrock with me, talking weather here on the program. Get me caught up. Fort Hays. I know that it's strange that I'm here on a Wednesday, but no trips to Wichita or anything like that. So Hash is pouting over here because he doesn't get a chance to talk Tiger stuff with you. But give us the latest. Fort Hays State women. Let's go with them first.
Well, they had kind of a mixed reviews. Great Thursday. I got off to a bad start against Missouri Southern. Fell down by 11. They were ranked 11th in the country at the time, and turned it around and ended up winning by 18. I mean, probably for two-thirds of that game, I don't know if they played any better. I mean, they were really, really good. And they got a big win over a team they shared the conference title with a year ago. And then they come back 2 days later against a good Pitt State team that's starting to figure it out and got off to a similar slow start, but could not turn it around in the first half. They were down 33 in the second quarter. Trailed it, I think, 30 at halftime, something like that, 31, 32. And then came back and actually had a legit chance. They go on a 17-1 run in the third quarter, got back in it, had it down to 16 with about 5 to go. There was a technical foul called on one of the Pitt players. And so you had a chance. It was on a foul, so you had a chance to get the technical free throws, the foul free throws, and get the ball. 6 to 7 point possession, and they got 2. And then Pitt goes down, hits a 3, scores 7 straight, and that was a game. So, yeah, it was kind of they finished it well, but just you can't fall behind by 33 against a good team, obviously. So, yeah, they got Kearney on Saturday, and that's a huge game. I mean, I was worried when they had their schedule and they added those 2 games in Kansas City against 2 great teams. They got 5 losses now, and you start looking, and I know Tony Hobson hasn't said anything or probably done this. I'm probably sure he has, but when you start looking at NCAA tournament, you're getting down to where you can't afford too many more losses, and you got some big-time games. So I think Saturday with Kearney's huge. You got to win that. You've got enough big games on your schedule ahead. If you can win them, I think they're going to be fine. You just can't stub your toe against somebody. But their margin for error is getting thin with 5 losses already if they want to make an NCAA tournament. And yet I think they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in our conference, but they're in jeopardy of not making the NCAA because of the way they do it and the brutal schedule. So, yeah, this is they got to get going and play a little more consistent here to get this thing going in the right direction and ensure they can get back into the NCAAs.
How much street cred does Fort Hays get when you go to selecting those final spots for the tournament?
You know, there's a formula. It's confusing, but there is criteria. And so, I think they might get the benefit of the doubt, but it's going to come down to, and again, every year, there's criteria, and it's basically how you did against, teams, the 500% winning percentage or 750 or better, and then it goes into how their teams did, and then head to head, there's like 5 or 6 columns, And it seems like every year the committee puts more emphasis on another column. And that's where Fort Hays State men were so frustrated last year. At Washburn getting in with 10 losses. Fort Hays State had, I think, 6 or 7, had beaten Washburn head-to-head. But they, for whatever reason, they gave a win over Northwest, which was a big win. They gave that more weight than what about the other losses? You lost 10 games. But the head of the committee they gave more weight to that one win because it was against the number 1 team in the country. So it's weird. If this was Division I, there'd be no question. They're a tournament team. They're in great shape. But, I mean, Fort Hays State men shared an MIAA regular season title and did not make the NCAA tournament one year. It's crazy. I mean, it's I could go on a big-time tangent.
That's okay. I was going
to... But basically, NCAA does not care. They put on the Division II national tournament because they have to. If they cared, they would change it and make it more equitable and make it a true national tournament where you get the best teams. That doesn't happen. It's all regionalized. And unfortunately, Fort Hays State is in a super league, I don't know if that's the right word, but just an incredible deep region with, I mean, the top 15 teams in the country. You know, you take the top 30 teams in the nation, 12 of them are probably from this region. So it's just so difficult. So yeah, I'll back down now and get off the tangent.
Well, I'll throw this one out there then. How political is it?
You know, I don't think it's supposed to be, but I know it does. And the only reason I know this is the retired Kim Anderson, the former Pitt State coach in Central Missouri and Missouri coach, was on the men's committee last year. So every conference in the region has an administrative rep and then a coach. So the MIAA had a conference athletic director was the administrative rep, and then Kim Anderson was the coach's rep. And he and Mark Johnson are good friends, and he would just tell them, hey, letting you know, they're getting momentum for Washburn. Most of us are against it, but it's gaining momentum. It's going to come down to a battle, and then unfortunately Washburn made the conference tournament championship, and that got them in. So I think it does get political. It shouldn't, because it's a formula. I don't understand the formula. I needed a math degree for that, but yeah, it does. And it just seems like one year one thing's considered gets more weight than another, and it's strange, but that's what it is, and that's what you got to go off of.
All right, give us an update on the Tiger men.
You know, they just played their 5th game in 11 days yesterday. They had a makeup with Missouri Western when the Griffins got shut down for COVID, and I think it showed. They missed 18 consecutive threes at one point in yesterday afternoon's game. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Wow.
And just could not, like Mark Johnson said afterwards, when we're bad, we're really, really bad. And when we're good, we can beat anybody on our schedule. And it's been proven. Central Oklahoma's tied for the conference lead, and it was a 2-point game with 20 seconds to go, and Fort Hays had the ball. And so they were right there with Northwest Missouri State, and Missouri Western's so long, it was just hard to finish at the rim. They got 7 foot, 6'10", 6'8". I'm amazed at Division II how big teams have gotten. I think Fort Hays has one of their bigger teams, and they seemed small yesterday, and it just didn't shoot well. When they shoot well, they can play with anybody. But I know coaches don't use it as the excuse, but that was 5 games in 11 days, 3 of them on the road, and to me it looked like it. And so this was supposed to be the week where they didn't play for the whole week because you're playing Kearney, your travel partner. I think Mark Johnson's hoping they can find a way to win Saturday and kind of recharge and regroup. They were kind of in the same boat a year ago, and then they finished the second half of conference play strong. I think they can do that. But Caleb Hammocky had 2 rough games at home, didn't make double figures, so he played much better yesterday. So I think they're still going to be in the picture, but they got to beat Kearney, and then they need to get on a bit of a roll, and it's going to start with their offense. They got to hit shots, and sometimes it's hard for them to do.
I know you brought this up again, but that Fort Hays, this was out of their control. It wasn't their fault that, they were ready to play, but the other team got COVID, and then they don't forfeit.
Yeah, well, see, that's like Mark. I wish we could have had a no contest. It'd been better off now playing the game than going and losing it. And I feel bad for Missouri Western. It's the second year. I mean, they had a really good team last year, and they got shut down a couple of times for COVID, and then having to make up so many games. It killed their season. They've only lost 2 games this year, but it is a major inconvenience. I've always felt, I'm sorry it happened, but Fort Hays State, even if it's at a neutral site, not as far, or you have to go on the road, it's not our fault that we have to try to squeeze in a game to make it up. But I get that's probably not the right way to do it. It's a tough situation, but it did make it. You can just tell. 5 games in 11 days, 3 of them on the road. It's tough. When you're on the road, it's difficult, and when you're on the road that often and that tight, much together, and that's how it looked yesterday. So hopefully they can kind of get their legs under them. They're going to finish with 7 of their last 11 on the road, so that's going to be the challenge for both teams by the end of the season. They're going to have to really dig deep with that many road games.
Sure, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
Okay, Jared Walbrock joining us here on Sports Day as we're rolling toward the finish here on the Wednesday show on KVGB.
To be the king of the road, you have to fill with the king of diesels. We're talking about Cenex Premium Diesel. It comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. Cenex Roadmaster XL even cleans up and prevents injector fouling to keep your trucks out of the shop and on the road. And typical number 2 diesel? That's always an option. The wrong option. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Receive only the finest granite, quartz, and custom installation from J.R. Granite, Ellsworth. Co-owner Robert Hicks.
One thing you won't have with me is a pressured sale. The natural beauty of stone sells itself. I suggest customers take their time and choose exactly what they want for material. This purchase will most likely last you a lifetime. If you're even considering buying countertops, now's a great time for a free quote.
Delivering nature's durable beauty that exceeds your expectations. J.R. Granite in Ellsworth.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Yeah, how about that? Another great show here on Sports Day. Appreciate Cindy Beck, Paige Sexton coming by from Great Bend High School, Alec Brock, Parker Scheck, and Derek Joyner from Ellenwood, and, of course, the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, Gerard Walbrock. Can they do this? I guess they can, but because they did. A spectator escorted from Rupp Arena during the first half of Kentucky's loss to South Carolina after holding up a sign that said, "Please go to Texas," referring to John Calipari. Unidentified man in the lower bowl held up the sign for several minutes before arena security arrived following complaints from other fans. Kentucky basketball spokesman Deb Moore said afterward the man was given the choice of putting the sign away but refused and chose to leave. Texas has reportedly contacted Calipari about his coaching vacancy.
I disagree with what they did. There was no vulgarity in it or anything.
But how big was this sign? I didn't see it.
Well, this is true. If
it's a big one and people behind him can't see the game.
That's one thing. That is a good point. But I just, it's government control. All over the place. But it's also UK. University of Kentucky thinks they're all that. And they're not doing very well.
Well, they're turning on John?
Yeah, that's not good.
Oh,
well.
Texas was probably happy South Carolina won.
Does Texas want him?
Well, you go to Texas, and it's not like he'd be in the same conference as Bill Self and Jerome Tang, because they'd be right back in the SEC.
I was going to say, he's going right back to the SEC. So when he plays Kentucky, that would be interesting.
Yeah, but he'd be going to a school that has a curse put on it.
Well, can you see the sign?
Whatever.
See the sign in Texas says, "Kentucky, take him back."
Okay. SEC team. All right, Hesh, tomorrow, good show. Let's see, Maxville is going to be in studio tomorrow. Jeff Kuckelman, along with his 3 senior captains.
We're going to have to get a bigger studio.
Guess so. Some of those Wizard Owls would probably help, too.
I'm confused.
You know those Wizard Owls, the air fresheners?
Oh, good heavens. You had to bring that up.
Yeah, I did. Okay.
This is Agriculture Today, and